Wes, hi, mean friend, and welcome to another video. There have been many people all over the internet, let us call them shells as an umbrella term, who have been using quite unpleasant words towards the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson to shill for Prime Videos, the Rings of Prime, even more. But once again, I have to use one thing out of the 1,000 to prove them wrong. But first, my dear friends, for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome to European Law Channel, a channel of a humble European fella, a man who has devoted his entire personal and academic life to the finer things, to the greats of the fantasy genre of the 20th century, and Old English literature and language. And that is why this channel is from a huge part devoted to defending these great stories against vile creatures of Prime Video, Netflix, Disney Plus, and so on and so forth. So please feel free to check out my other videos about fantasy and science fiction. And I'm also a great aficionado of movie merchandise and memorabilia, and a collector of statues, action figures, and replicas. And you know, what's that one out of the many things that proves that The Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson is still popular more than 20 years later, and, the popularity is actually growing more and more. The fact that merchandise is coming out, merchandise depicting characters and scenes, and weapons and armor and buildings from The Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson, and people are still buying it, and they are buying even those pieces of merchandise that are not very cheap. Now, this is a official website of WETA Workshop, and this is the company that worked on The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, and they made all the weapons, every piece of armor. There is a WETA digital section, and they made all the CGI, and they are the company that made The Lord of the Rings what it is visually. And of course, they are also making merchandise from these movies, quite a high-end merchandise that I am a tremendous fan of. We are talking about statues and miniatures and replicas of weapons, so on and so forth. And let us just quickly check out what they've got new for pre-order and featured merchandise that has just come out or is going to come out in the near future. So this also you can consider like a tip video of what to get if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, or if you want to get somebody a gift. Myself, I have always enjoyed their environment statues, which means their, building statuettes from the Lord of the Rings depicting the most famous, castles or houses or towers, whatever you like. Those iconic buildings. For example, here, Minas Tirith, which is quite pricey. You can see that it goes for 553 euros. And it's, I think, going for a pre-order. But if you look at that, if you open this particular Lord of the Rings Minas Tirith environment, and if you look at the pictures, really worth the price, because the details are extraordinary. You can see each and every single building here. And even if you look from the back, the rock is beautifully and masterfully crafted. And there's a bloke holding it for comparison. So it's not a small collectible. Now, many years ago, when The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King was coming out on DVD, the extended editions, they came up with a gift for that went along these DVDs, and it was this precise thing, only much smaller, and I own this thing. So for those of you who enjoy more high-end collectibles, you can get this. These are made from polystone. It is very heavy, very quality, but also very fragile. So I'm sure that there are many people among my audience who are collectors of these things, and we know that we should be very careful handling these things because they can be broken quite easily. Now, this is something more affordable for a common collector. Now, this is the Tower of Orthanc, which is quite smaller, and I have to admit that I am thinking about pre-ordering this one and having it. It's probably having somebody getting me this as a Christmas gift. After all, it's going to come out in the second quarter of 2023. So, yeah, I mean, look at that. The amount of detail, and what is even more extraordinary, that look at how small it is. It is really a small replica that would fit at anybody's shelf or anybody's table. If should you want to enjoy some beautiful depictions, scenes from the Lord of the Rings, but even for a replica so small, look at the amount of details. Now, each and every single individual step is crafted here. Each and every window, each and every detail is beautiful. Now, you might be saying that these things from WETA Workshop are pricey, but I think that it's worth the buck you're paying for it, especially because of its quality and the detail and the material used. Now, those of you who enjoy characters more than, houses and castles, you can get some of the figures of fandom statues. And the good news is that these are much more affordable than the 1/6 scale polystone statues, because these are smaller and these are made of PVC. So more people can afford them. Now, they only came out with this line quite recently, and Saruman is, I think, their most recent reveal. And they usually take advantage of a creative freedom and depict the characters like they, really haven't appeared in the film. Now, Saruman is in a more or less iconic pose, as if he was standing on top of Orthanc, but if we get to some more statues from this line, I shall show you that the poses are in many cases quite original. Now, it's not that small if you look at it. It's about 20 centimeters high. Yes, exactly. It is 25.7 centimeters high. So it's not that small. I would definitely get this Saruman. Once again, look at the amount of detail. Look at the amount of detail. It's a small statuette that is made of polystone, but it still kind of resembles Sir Christopher Lee in his role of Saruman, which was masterful. This is, for example, for those of you who enjoy more intricate and more high-end statues, this is their 1/6 scale classic series, the latest one here, Aragorn, or the Strider, or as they call it, Aragorn, Hunter of the Plains. Now, if you look at the scale, that's bigger than that Saruman that we looked at a couple of seconds ago. But at the same time, also, it is made of polystone, so of a much more higher quality. And once again, the amount of detail. Look, it's a 1/6 scale statue. A statuette, not that big. But look at how they crafted the leaf of Lorien and the Even Star. As you can see, right underneath Aragorn's cloak. Of course, his sword is beautifully crafted. Look at the details. I mean, these things are beautiful. They are gorgeous and extraordinary. So I say that everybody can choose their own. Everybody can look at these things and say, well, yeah, I like that. I will get it. And for those of you who can't necessarily afford these PVC statues, who can't really spend $100 on a statue, you can always get some of these. They're called mini epics. They are vinyl figurines. A lot of them have come out already. and most of them are readily available if you've missed out on them, and they are stylized, kind of cutified versions of those characters that you can easily fit on your shelf or on your table. For example, this is once again a hand with the figurine to show the scale. So they are perfect for everybody, I say, for people who love merchandise but can't necessarily spend a lot of money, and also for those who can afford to spend a lot of money but still want something smaller, because this is, still, look at the details. Look at each and every single individual link from this chainmail being sculpted here, even on a figurine as small as this one. Well, and in the end, to finish this video up, and there are many more, if you want to look at more, just go to wetanz.com. By the way, I'm not being sponsored by them. I just enjoy their work so much that I do video about them from time to time. And for those of you who enjoy paintings or prints, who would prefer to have something on their walls instead of something sculpted on their shelves, you can always get one of these beautiful prints. This is the latest one, Nazgul, a hunt. Goes for about $50, and you can have it framed and enjoy a beautiful depiction from the Lord of the Rings in your home or in your office. So, and people are buying these things like maniacs. I mean, they get sold out very quickly. And this is one of the proofs why The Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson shall never perish, because its popularity is not dwindling, whereas there is no merchandise from the Rings of Power, not even a Funko Pop, only Kit Kats that are still sitting on shelves, because people will rather not eat chocolate than eat chocolate with the Rings of Power on it. Alright, let me know in the comments down below what you think, and that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of here.